Okay, so I came up with this really stupid challenge where I have to play the entirety of Bonelab without any weapons. So let's pass it to me with the rules. Alright, so the rules are easy. I can't use any guns. I also can't use any melee weapons. I can only use my fists, and I am allowed to hurt them with the environment, like by slamming them into a wall or throwing them at a table, something like that. Okay, so at the start, I have to pick up this die thing. It's not a weapon, so you know, it's okay. I then look up and you know, just gotta follow your instincts. And by follow your instincts, I mean escape it 5 seconds later. I then have to grab this knife, but no one got stabbed, so that makes it okay. I then make my way through this underground dungeon thing that's just made for escapists, and then I decide to abuse this skeleton that is already trapped underground. You know, he died, so I am then immediately met with the consequences of my actions. It's also another skeleton, so he goes down pretty easy. And then further up, another skeleton decides to walk at me, so I pick him up and use the environment like I said I would. I'm then met with the first puzzle of the game, which I'm almost certain I did wrong. I then encounter my first real enemy, a crablet. Now the game offers me a gun, but of course I can't use it, so I gotta take these guys with my hands. That sounds wrong. I meant, you know, punch them. Next, the game forces me to fight both of those enemies at the same time, but they don't like each other, so it makes it pretty easy. These guys are pretty easy to take. The game throws like 50 of them at me. Not really, but you know, you get the point. They're just tiring, and that's it. I do this pretty cool trick called throwing your enemies out of a window. It's not very effective, but you know, I don't have to deal with them now. I'm then met with the first actual challenge this run, people with guns. I take advantage of the AI not working. This guy just really likes boxes or something, I don't know. Even looks at me and just ignores me. This guy's really the only enemy this level for some reason. There's, you know, a cliff, so. And that's pretty much that whole level done without a single shot fired or single melee weapon. I get rid of this crowbar, just in case. I then complete the worst puzzle ever in a game ever and go into the quarantine zone. There's no enemies in this area, so I'm fine for now. The game tries to trick you into thinking you need this crowbar to block this fan, but you can just go through. I then practice my punches on this box. As you can see, they need work. Next, I had to flip over this table, open this giant plug, and lower this really slow crane. I then had to struggle with the physics of the crane, because for some reason it doesn't feel right, and then hold the button again. And that's that entire level complete without a single punch thrown. In the next level, I'm immediately met with 3 people with guns, but for some reason they started fighting each other. This one didn't notice me for some reason. I then noticed that there's one more guy that I just didn't even see to begin with because he didn't start shooting at me. So I tried to use the ball to kill him. It worked by accident. And also this physics puzzle kind of sucks. But I get it eventually, so I guess on my first playthrough I missed this capsule somehow, so I got that now. Now this is the part I was worried about, because there's a sentry gun and a whole bunch of security. I also, you know, one hit the null body, so that was pretty awesome. I decided to pick up this trash can lid to use it as cover, and surprisingly it worked. For some reason I got bloodlust and started killing everyone. Now, I'm kind of stupid, so I left behind the trash can lid, so I had to rely on dodging for this. I hid behind this ball to dodge the bullets for as long as I could, then I just had to run at someone and hope I lived. I made it through somehow, out of sheer luck. I then had to fight these 2 null bodies for a while. I then had to fight more people with guns, and figure out where this guy was. After fighting this guy, I was pretty low on health, so I decided to hide for a while. I then hardcore parkoured my way over, and punched this guy's face in. I I then climbed this pipe and noticed there were 2 more people I had to deal with, so I decided to rush them. I almost died, but it worked out. Next I noticed there was one last guy to deal with, so I went up and punched this wood like I was playing Minecraft. I then pushed off the wall like the game told me to, until these guys started slowing my momentum. I had to figure out some buggy physics mess so I could start moving it again. Once I reached the spot I needed to, I started plotting my revenge. I then reached another section where I just had to run. And that's where that level ends. The next level is Mine Dive, which is just an idle level, honestly. You sit there for 5 minutes. I decided to use my time sitting in the cart to check how many levels I had to do. After waiting what felt like an hour, I finally reached the end of the level. I knocked on this door and entered the next level. At first I thought this section was going to be really difficult because there's a whole bunch of enemies down this hallway, but I realized I could use the pillars to hide behind and heal. After clearing out the hallway, I entered this room and pulled this vent cover off. I then entered this hospital hallway and ignored the shotgun. After turning this corner, I noticed more people with guns that I had to fight. The enemies felt like they were getting stronger, or I was getting weaker. I managed to make it to this stairwell, which led me to another hallway. When I turned around, there was a new type of nobody that threw projectiles at me. I managed to block it using this other nobody. After taking out the projectile nobody, I could focus on the other one. I then dropped down this hole, and after taking care of a nobody, I run into more people with guns. After fighting every enemy we've encountered so far, I have to fall down another hole, which is then followed by more people with guns. After fighting all those enemies, I finally find Jimmy.
What you looking at, kid?
Jimmy then tells me.
You're pretty good.
I mean, he tells me.
Take this body log. Go fill it with Avatar. Come back.
So now all we have to do is play half of the game doing nothing. Our first level is Street Puncher. This is where we get the strong avatar, who we're going to use for most of this because, you know, strong. With the strong avatar, we can pick people up and throw them at other enemies. We also deal a lot more damage when we punch. This level is just full of weaker nobodies, basically. So after dealing with everyone, I decided to push the big red go button, which finishes the level because I did a new game plus. Next is Bridge, which is a really fun level if you're just doing parkour, but there's no enemies, so I'll just skip this. The next level is Magma Gate, which is like a wave defense map, I guess, but I also don't know where any weapons are, so I had to use my fists regardless. I'll show a few highlights and... Alright, the next level is the absolute worst one in the game. On the moon. Actually, it's not the worst one, second worst. You become really short with really bad gravity, so I just had to adapt this gorilla tag style way of moving. The next level is a level that everyone gets motion sick on for some reason, except for me. These levels are really boring, so I'm just going to show me flawlessly doing the course. Alright, now it's the actual worst level in the game, Pillar Climb. The climbing in this game is just too janky for this level. This part made me really angry for some reason. It just would not break. I even swapped avatars to strong at one point, and it just still would not break. It finally broke after like 5 minutes of just smacking it over and over. Alright, we're finally done getting avatars, so now we can continue the actual story for 2 levels. After getting the key, you just put it in this slot thing, and it opens the door to the left. After breaking the Boneworks box, this funny purple thing comes out, and then we go up. Now this is the second to last level, so you better savor this. After doing the most awesome ball puzzle of my life, I finally get to go through this door and deal with more skeletons. And then I get to do another awesome puzzle, and then I get to lower a bridge by playing Minecraft again. Which is then followed by me using a tool. A tool. It doesn't harm anyone, it just makes the ball go. After completing the 5th ball puzzle, I can finally continue. At this point, I didn't want to fight anyone because I was tired, but in this room you have to kill every single nobody. After that massacre, I can finally open the door and continue. Then I have to kill another skeleton. And now I have to do a bunch of parkour. But at least I was able to use this awesome zipline. And now the game shows us this new feature that's like anti-gravity beam or something. I decided to ruin the skeleton's evening. I decided that the easiest way to deal with people here was to throw them off the cliff. That little head crab guy is a legend for that. I made some new crablet friends, and accidentally met the same fate as them. And then I had to deal with more null bodies. I then witnessed a seizure. And then my game decided to unload every texture, and also apply some really weird lighting. Then I had to deal with more people with guns. I then witnessed 2 crablets mating or something. And then I found more people to punch. And then crashed a null body party. And then fought a corpse that I thought was still alive. And then accidentally threw a null body in front of a train. Then I avoided pretty much everyone in this room. And found an empty capsule. And then stepped on the platform to go to the last level of the game. I got called some really mean words by this person, so I bashed their skull in. I proceeded to run through the entire level because I got tired of fighting. I avoided everyone in this bar except for this lady. I then tore these planks down. Jimmy put his hand through the roof. I jumped into his finger. Got in his taxi. And watched in amazement as Monster Energy was credited. So yeah, I guess you could beat the game with no guns, no weapons, but it's really boring and you kind of get exhausted by the end of it. If you found this video somewhat entertaining at all or helpful, like, subscribe, all that.